Good evening, my brothers and sisters, and welcome to another episode of A Word with Pastor Webb. I'm your host, Pastor Webb, and we have a very special guest this evening. We have Miss Jeanette Smith, the CEO of Dash Coordinating and Marketing. Please help me to salute and celebrate my friend and sister. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Pastor Webb. Happy to be here.
How was the drive?
It was good. I live out in the Apollo Beach area, but Tampa is home, so it's just like coming back home over the interstate.
All right. No traffic, no issues?
Not that bad today.
Okay. Well, we're not going to prolong the time. What's your story? How did you grow up?
How did I grow up? Well, I am the youngest of 6 children. I grew up in Old West Tampa. I am a part of a big family. Okay. My mom is the third oldest of 12, and my family is rooted in the church. So my other grandparents on my father's side started Mount Vernon Primitive Baptist Church that I still attend.
Mount Vernon?
Mount Vernon Primitive Baptist.
Okay.
Yep, and so I'm a God-fearing person, and I grew up with that from the very beginning. I went to Hillsborough High School in the IB program, so shout out to the Terriers.
All right.
And I graduated from there and attended Howard University, where I studied broadcast journalism. And a year later, after graduating, I started my own company, Dash Coordinating and Marketing.
All right, perfect. Now give me 3 words that best describe you and why.
And why?
And why?
Okay, so I would say innovative.
Okay.
Ever since a very young age, probably kindergarten, I always created things. I wrote scripts for my cousins to read and record and do all of these fun interactive things. I'm always creating new ideas and concepts. So innovative would definitely be one. Grateful. Over the years of living, I've learned how blessed I am to have family, to have a support system, to have a solid foundation, and I'm very grateful for that. Now, I'll probably say confident.
Not cocky, but confident.
No, not cocky.
Okay.
But confident.
All right.
And I think confidence is important, especially as an entrepreneur, right? Because if you don't believe it, nobody else will.
Nobody will.
And so that confidence, though, isn't just because of me. I think it's because of my faith. It's because I know really who has my back. Okay. And so I would say confidence has definitely been something to help me push through obstacles that I face.
All right, so confident, innovative,
and grateful.
Grateful. Yeah, I got you. Now, you graduated from Howard University. How was your experience at Howard? And then tell me, how did it feel to graduate from an HBCU?
Absolutely. I mean, Howard University is the Mecca. So we definitely got to make sure we give it its due credibility. And going to Howard University really allowed me, what I took most from Howard was the network of people that I have relationships with to this day. I knew very well going to a HBCU was not what the real world would be like after I graduated. And so just making connections with people that look like me, but from all different backgrounds. It was almost a culture shock, right? I had never met that vast of a variety of Black people.
Right.
And so, having gone there, when I started my company a year after graduating, my first pool of clients were Black dentists.
Amen.
And mostly 100% of those dentists graduated from Howard University Dental School. And so just the network, the affiliation with Howard University, the relationships that I've built have sustained me even until today as a successful entrepreneur.
All right. So it gave you a sense of pride.
Absolutely.
Yes.
A self-awareness, just all of that, cultural appreciation. It was everything. I always, if I can, encourage young adults to consider an HBCU anywhere, just because that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that cannot be duplicated.
So what do you say to folks who say you shouldn't go to a HBCU and go to a Florida State or University of Florida, UCF? What do you say to those folks?
That's unfortunate. They should be open-minded. I feel like they maybe never had a Friday on the yard. I feel like there may be some missed experiences that they can't relate to that I can. And it's no knock on other universities and things of that sort, but quite frankly, as a young Black woman, the HBCU experience shaped and gave me that confidence that I needed to walk into an all-white building or boardroom meeting and present myself accordingly. So I would say, I don't really agree with that concept.
Okay. Now, why did you choose to major in broadcast journalism? Why?
So I thought I wanted to be a news anchor.
Uh-oh.
You know, growing up, I would watch the News Channel 8, and I would repeat what they would say. And that's what I thought I wanted to do. But I had an internship when I was in D.C. at Fox 5. And I sat in the control room, and I found it very boring. I had a problem with the idea of reading someone else's script. I wanted to write the script. And so I switched my thinking, not my major. I wanted to graduate, but I switched my thinking to say I can create the story by marketing brands, by doing events that are newsworthy. I create the story that they then report on. And so that has been my approach to using my passion for communication and my passion for marketing and making them coincide.
Okay. Now you are the CEO of Dash Coordinated Marketing. Tell me how that came about, and please explain what the company does.
Absolutely. So when I made that shift in the middle of my college matriculation, I started to intern as a director of marketing for a dental office.
Okay.
And I didn't know I was interested in marketing, but I took that position because I was interested in learning.
Okay.
And in that position, I had to identify web developers, photographers to help get the business brand to where it needed to go. And it was such a task. And so I said, why is there not a one-stop shop where I can go, tell them what my needs are, and they have a whole marketing team readily available to help me build this company's brand?
Okay.
And that was the aha moment.
Okay.
I met Armand Davila, who's our company's vice president, and he's a genius creative.
Okay.
And I said, Armand, between me and you, we could take over the world. And here we are 11 years later.
Wow.
We are successfully running Dash Coordinating and Marketing, and it's more than just us. We have about 30 contractors, what I call Dash Creatives. And essentially, we're a one-stop shop. We work with businesses who are small.
Okay.
We work with established businesses, large organizations, and even government agencies in supporting their marketing endeavors, as well as event production, both virtually and in person. So we're a full-service marketing agency that are here to help people meet them where they are and get them where they're trying to go.
Right. Now, I know you're doing a great job and you're successful, but what are some of the pressures that come along with being a Black female in your profession?
That's a good question, Pastor Webb.
I mean, a young Black female.
That's a good question. I will say, especially starting out, people had a hard time believing that my business was credible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I'll give you an example. I would do office visits, just marketing myself. And so I walked into a dental office because that's where I started. So I was very confident in being able to do that. And I kept getting questions. So this is your company? Yes. And you're the CEO? Yes. And so you all help business? Yeah. So I got asked the same question 5 different ways, and it was all toward, this is real. You're real. This is your portfolio. You did this work. And so I noticed that was almost a constant thing that I was facing as I would interface with potential clients. And so luckily, now 11 years later, my reputation and portfolio speaks for itself. And so I deal less with that, but I have found that has made me, as a Black woman, have to show up in a different way.
Wow.
I have to think about everything that I present, not just myself physically, the materials, the way I speak, the way I introduce myself, the confidence that I'm able to project so that people can be confident in who I am and what I represent. I find that to be a lot of pressure at times, but somebody got to do it.
Somebody got to do it. Somebody got to do it now. I heard you had an opportunity to work with Joe Biden. Talk about that experience.
Absolutely. I'd like to talk about how it started.
Talk about it.
Because I was a door holder at a concert as an intern at Hard Rock Cafe, and there was a photographer there. And I'm a people person. I talk to people. I build relationships. Built relationships with him, kept in contact. 3 years later, he goes, gives me a call. Jeanette, I have an opportunity, and I like your assistance. I'm going to need your social security number.
Uh-oh.
I said, oh, no. We cool, but no. Well, you're going to need top secret clearance to do this job.
Wow.
I said, say no more. I know I'm in D.C. Long story short, he told me the client at that time was Vice President Joe Biden, so it was during the Obama administration. And so I ended up at the residence of the vice president, working alongside that photographer who was the official photographer for the event. My job was to work with the press secretary, make sure we introduced guests as they walked in 2 steps away from me to take pictures with the vice president, and then to follow him very closely throughout the entire event to photograph every moment. And so that resulted after a while with me getting comfortable and saying, hey, Mr. Vice President, can you talk to my daddy on the phone? And I had my dad on the phone and he talked to him, we took selfies. And so I did that for 2 consecutive years for that same event. And that changed my whole perspective on what's possible.
So now that he's the president, can you call him?
I wish I could. You know, new levels, new protection.
Yes.
But I would like to believe I'm about 3 phone calls away.
Okay. And if you call him, I want to be in the house when he show up.
If I'm what I say, hey, can you talk to Pastor
Webb? Yeah, put him on the line.
I got you.
Okay, now, what do you tell a young girl young black female who would like to go into your profession?
Yeah, so exposure is important.
Okay.
Stay open-minded at a very young age. You know, don't say, oh, I just like this and I don't like this, or I eat this and I don't eat. Be open-minded. The more exposure you have, whether it's dancing, painting, going to a hockey game, you know, understanding things that are beyond your wildest imagination, that exposure allows you to identify what you're good at, what you like, and what you don't like. And by identifying those things, when you get to a certain point where now it's time for you to decide on what career path you want to take, you have a solid foundation to choose from. You're not just kind of going with the wind.
So exposure.
And so expose yourself and seek opportunity even if it's not presented to you. Walk into the room and say, can I be a volunteer? Walk into a building and say, I'm interested in learning this. Can I be an intern? And create opportunity for yourself. Okay,
so exposure. Okay. Next question, what are some of your hobbies? What do you like to do for fun?
Yeah, so I was talking to my husband about this. I said, well, I take care of children, I clean the house, but what I like to do for fun, I love to dance.
Dancing?
I love to dance.
Jazz, tap?
It doesn't matter. I love to dance. I danced when I was at Hillsborough High School. I danced at Howard University. And so dancing for me is just a release. It's a way to express myself. It's an art form. It's a way to connect with others in music. And so dancing is really my hobby love. Okay.
No R&B, no rap?
I'll dance to it, but I don't know if I'm the artist.
But you'll dance to it?
Yes.
Now, I heard that you was a motivational speaker. Now, what is your audience and what are your topics you talk about?
Absolutely. So I can speak to a variety of audiences. I love, of course, talking to children. I mean, down to middle school, as long as they can comprehend what I'm saying. And at that group, I'm really focusing on making sure they understand that I am a brand. You are a brand, whether you have a business or not. You're a brand. And so that touches on being aware of what you're posting on social media, being aware of what you're saying, being aware of the experience people have when they interact with you. That's a part of your brand. I also talk to aspiring entrepreneurs, just about the A, B's, and C's of what to do, mistakes and lessons learned, and then as well as established businesses that are looking at starting their businesses, building their brands, and encouraging them to start and to know that as they grow, as their business grow, their brand will grow with it as well. So really touching people at any point. I can talk to mothers about balancing life and work. And so I really, again, identify where the audience is and try to use my experiences to help them connect.
What about speaking at churches like women conferences?
Absolutely, absolutely. My faith walk is everything. It's everything. Without my faith and my relationship with God, I would not be here.
I may have a speaking engagement for you. So what I dropped it in there for you.
All right. Consider it done.
Yes, ma'am. If you had one wish, what would it be? One wish now. One wish.
One wish. Okay, I got this one. So if I had one wish, it would be to affect change, to change someone's life.
Amen.
Through an opportunity that I can offer them through my company. My favorite show to watch is Undercover Boss. And it is my wish that one day I will be the boss of Dash, and Dash will be super successful where I can go undercover. They wouldn't know I'm the CEO, and learn about these folks and change their lives, provide opportunities. that every time I watch that show, I cry. So that is my wish, is to be in that position to be able to do that.
To be a change agent.
Absolutely.
Perfect, perfect. Now, what is the one thing that some may know about you and others may not know? What's the secret?
Some may know, but not everybody.
Yeah, some may know.
Honestly, I'm going to have to go back to my faith walk. You know, I'm not a person that talks about God all the time, right? Now, if you know me, you know I'm all about it. But if you don't know me and I'm only talking business, you may not know at all that I really rely on faith. When I say every day I wake up, I'm not concerned about if it's going to happen, how it's going to happen. I give it to God. And I've done that from a very early age. So when I talked about that confidence, it wasn't confident in me. It was confidence that God would provide. He will open the doors that should be open and close the doors that should be closed. That has always been a part of my prayer. And had it not been from God's, and it doesn't mean that I'm perfect. Oh, I'm far from perfect, which is why my faith walk is so important, because I know that it's God's grace and mercy that has sustained me to this point. And rarely do I get to talk about it on this level, right? Most people want to hear about the business part and the family part, but few people know how spiritual I really am deep down.
Amen, amen. Now talk about some of your early mistakes you made in life that you had to overcome. I know you're perfect.
No.
But talk about some of the early mistakes you made in life.
Early mistakes I made in life. You know, I'll say with my parents. I didn't give them enough credit.
Amen.
And that's something I can look at now as a mom, right?
Right.
You know, there were parts of things I did and wanted to do that I didn't share with them, that I didn't feel okay being honest about as a child. And I think had I just pushed past that, our relationship could have been different early. It's a great relationship now, but it could have been great then. You know, and I'm thinking about my teenage ages. I'm thinking about high school when I was doing things I knew I wasn't supposed to be, and I wasn't sharing that with anyone. I missed out on receiving that wisdom and that guidance. And that would be something I would do differently.
Okay, let me back up. How did you meet your husband?
So we met at Howard University. He was starting his graduate degree to get physical therapy, to become a doctor of physical therapy. And I was about my sophomore year, so about 5 years apart. And our friend said, hey, you should meet him. You might like him. He's from Florida. And sure enough, after our first date, now 13 years later, we're still hanging in there.
And I heard he's a Sigma.
He is a Sigma.
Okay. So given that, how do you balance work and family?
Yeah, so I'm big on scheduling.
Okay.
I think it's about time management. And literally, at this point, we have a calendar. And the calendar isn't the Bible, you know what I mean? You can deviate from it, but I schedule. I schedule what I need to do for work. I schedule what's going on personally, and we need to schedule our date nights, You know, we need to get out a little. So
what has been your biggest loss and biggest fear? And you got a lot of confidence, you believe in God. So what has been your biggest loss or biggest fear?
I can tell you exactly the biggest loss. May 15th, 2019. My husband and I had moved from D.C. here to Tampa. We had only been here, let's say, about 6 or 7 months. And the apartment that we were renting at the time caught on fire.
Wow.
3 o'clock in the morning. We were sleeping in the bed with our 1-year-old at the time, banging on the door. And it was our neighbors telling us to get up and get out immediately.
Wow.
And so I look out the window and I see fire almost raining. And I say, it's a fire, grab the baby. And we run out, literally wearing nothing but pajamas, no shoes on our feet.
Wow.
And from about 3 to 6 o'clock that morning, we watched our apartment burn. So everything we had collected for 12 years in D.C., coming here to be with our village, we lost it all. Lost it all. But God.
But God.
But God.
Say it, but God.
This is what I'm saying. That led to many opportunities, connections with the community. Several people donated to us, whether it was physical donations, monetary donations. My sister happened to have a fully furnished condo.
There you go.
On Gandy Beach that she was going to Airbnb. We moved right in.
Wow.
And a year later, we purchased our second home now here in Florida.
That's awesome.
And God has definitely been the key to that. So much so that one of my friends, one of my spiritual friends, after the fire happened, he said, Jeanette, I wrote a sermon, and you're not going to believe what it's called. I said, what? He said, I titled it, The Fire Was Necessary.
Ooh, that'll
I
preach.
said, no,
that'll
you
preach.
didn't.
That'll
That gave me the chills.
That'll preach, yeah.
He lived in Germany. He said, I'm going to send it to you.
Wow.
And it was the story about how the 3 men went into the fire.
Yes.
And came back out, and they saw 4.
Yeah.
And that has just carried me. Now we're only a couple years removed from that, losing everything.
Amen.
And quite frankly, for me, it was God's way of removing what we didn't need to provide where we are today.
Look at God.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. What are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of my children.
Amen.
I have a 4-year-old son and a 6-month-old son.
Okay.
And I'm proud of myself as a mom, and I'm proud of them because they are amazing. They are amazing. And it's not because of me. Again, my sister, one of my sisters, heard my little 4-year-old do his goodnight prayer.
Uh-oh.
And she called me and said, Jeanette, you did not tell me about him. I said, well, what? She goes, his prayer is on another level. I've never heard a 4-year-old pray this way.
Wow.
And so that made me proud. That let me know that I am setting a foundation for him.
Amen.
And he's comprehending it and being able to apply it and being confident enough
There you go.
to show his relationship and love for God in front of other people.
My.
And so I'm proud of that.
What's your
Very
son's name?
much so. Jamar Jr.
Jamar and
Julius.
Julius. J.
J and J. We all J.
J. Oh, I thought 4 J's. Wow. Okay. If you could trade places with one person for one day, who would that be?
I know, very easily. All my life. Oprah.
Oprah. Why Oprah?
Why not Oprah? Oprah. Definitely Oprah. I mean, growing up, again, thinking I wanted to be a journalist and still having this passion for it. Oprah is one of the only examples that I look towards entrepreneur, communication, relationship development, network capacity, net worth capacity.
Right.
There's a lot that I think I could learn in one day being Oprah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Appreciate that. How has God played a role in your success? How?
Because of him, I am.
Amen.
And I mean, I talked about my family having a church. So literally growing up in the church before I was born.
Amen.
God has paved the way.
Okay.
I do what I do and he does the rest.
Amen.
And so I really try to be humble about what he has done, but give him credit. People have to know your story.
Right.
And oftentimes I'm pulling that out of other people, my clients. You got to tell this part of your story.
Right.
The fire for me is a big part of my testimony because it has only been from that point on God that has allowed us to do anything that we're doing. When you lose everything and you feel like you've gained everything at the same time, you know it's God. So he is the reason.
Okay. So in closing, as we bring it to a close, any closing remarks you want to leave with my listening audience? Anything you want to say to them before you leave?
I'll say to anybody just trying to figure out who they are, what they want to do, who they want to be, is to never let anyone validate who you are or who you have the potential to become. It's not about necessarily where you are today. It's about looking forward to where you want to be and knowing that if you just take one step forward, you've made progress.
Amen. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But the final question, what is the best talk show in the land?
A Word with Pastor Webb.
God bless you, my sister. Thank you
you
for coming on the show. And to my listening audience, may God bless you real good.